It's Friday, it's October 28th, 2022. There was a song that came out on the radio in New York when I was a teenager. Didn't know the name of it, only heard the radio edit version. Turns out now that I have Pandora and I can pause it and look if I need a reference, it's Possum Kingdom by Toadies. I just took the reference link, put it on my Facebook. There was, after I had the first 3 children, and needing to get back into shape and having a, lack of a better term, a Judas horse, to run lead so I could run alpha at the back end of the wolf pack after him. So this way, at least I had a pace horse. I don't know, like, these things are important, and I just need visual reference in geospatial, and then I follow suit. So he used to run, nothing great to look at. I mean, it was whatever. I mean, it wasn't like up against a brick wall, like I want to eat you and I want to, like, to wake up every day to you. It was just Tina work. So he used to run and I just used to follow, and that really was like the extent of the relationship. So but that was back late 20s, like that was after Alexander was born, before Eric showed up. I'm thinking about this. So here I am today. I met with the physical therapist yesterday, the Ivy Rehab physical therapist. He checked my knee. My knee, I had good ROM, range of motion in it. The swelling's gone down significantly, but now it's just a strengthening exercise. And then, I mean, again, I have my pageantry of medical socks on, of paraphernalia. So I'm thinking internally, visualizing if there's something wrong somewhere just posterior to the acetabulum and femur connection that's giving me a pain problem. I don't want to form an adhesion. Again, not a usually that comes after surgery. I mean, that's what the medical doctors here would say. So I'm just walking through their excuses and my knowing my own body. And so I'm thinking perhaps there's some adhesive something going on on the left side. Maybe if I increase my pace, even though it feels like a series of water bags all out of tune with one another, like going up and down again, that would be enough pressure and molecule like jostling that perhaps I can, without like the idea of tearing anything, like to whatever. So I'm thinking of that. So I started picking up pace, since my knees seemed strong enough and the swelling went down. And as I'm going through and being very mindful of every step that I take and the muscle mechanics, the endoskeletal, the muscle mechanics, and then the full body machine, then the environment around me and how it's interacting, and what I'm feeling, experiencing as a machine. I'm going through all of these like checkpoints in body mechanics and kinesthesiology and physics. So I'm going through that, and all of a sudden on my Pandora's box, because of course I have this like background noise music, it beats out all of the traffic over there. This is where I am running around from, I didn't go Bell, I went in the opposite direction to Oaks. So this was the background, and lo and behold, when I looked up Possum Kingdom and the video reference, it has a, because one of the opening lines is by the lake. And then something about a boathouse, behind the boathouse, I'll show you my dark secret. Something like that. I mean, it looks very photogenic. So I'm teaching myself how to run again. there's something out of sync between body, mind, and the environment. I'm hoping it's not something cognitive or encephalitis or cephalic related, but again, the doctors have not sent me to that level of scanning. They've stuck strictly to truncated. So I'm trying to see just how much neurological and physiological damage my body has taken while living in Queens after moving out of Suffolk County, although it took some damage in Suffolk as well. I also took damage in Nassau County, not because I wanted to take damage, but I mean, when you go down in the field because somebody stuck you with a needle and you don't know who these people are, there's damage, there's trauma. So I'm trying to figure out how to communicate intracellularly, physiologically, and then with what I have available to me in environmental to walk around. So I'm just noticing how much weakness there is in the muscles. Not necessarily the joints at this point, but large muscle groups. Just on a simple run in large muscle groups. Not like, obviously it's day one, I'm totally disjointed from actually performing sports. But even simple forward, one straight motion of linear, forward straight motion, the amount of muscle weakness is astounding. Between where mentally I can visualize myself when Eric was last next to me on the treadmill and I was on the elliptical, and how fluid of emotion that was for me at that point. And that's like peak at the moment, and then just how far I've deteriorated in the trauma experience through physiological, neurological damage, and so on and so forth. So I'm trying to get, first of all, after running, the adhesion area by the femur, whatever, seems to have dislodged itself, the pain, so that's good. I don't know if it'll come back or not, but it's been this, like, this carry forward pain that doesn't seem to go, which is what led me toward, perhaps it's an internal adhesion of sorts. But anyhow, so, and the other thing is that I remember when John was the pace horse, or the lead runner, and I was behind him, with getting back into shape. Back in, I think it was like 2007, 2008, there was this feeling of being totally disjointed with my body again, between body, mind, and the environment. And at that point, I would just follow, like, as long as his legs were moving, my legs were moving, in like a second nature kind of a thing. I didn't put too much thought into it. I did more of mindfulness of large muscle groups, because it's not something that comes naturally at the moment. And I was thinking to myself, then there were days where I had such a hard time breathing, and nobody was mentioning anything about anemia. I was seeing Dr. Barrett, he died, but I was seeing Dr. Barrett at the time. There was, or actually no, I was seeing a different doctor. He had a head scarf or a turban of sorts, and I don't remember what his name was. He was with Long Island Queens Medical Group in Ronkonkoma. He didn't mention anything about anemia. He did not mention anything about iron deficiency. Nothing about possible needing infusions of iron. But when running, I was huffing and puffing and having the hardest time catching my breath. But the doctors at that time were failing me and my need of actually, when they run lab tests, informing the patient. I don't know who they inform. I don't know what their purpose really is. But it hasn't been to keep me in peak optimal fitness, or even in some internal integrity. Lab results, they take the labs, then they don't mention anything, and their answer is, if I don't call you, it means nothing's wrong. If you don't call me, how do I know that you even looked and did anything with what specimens you're collecting? I mean, their logic doesn't even work in this area. But it's congruent that it's a failure so far in Queens, in Nassau, and in Suffolk. Now I'm going to Nassau, and they're giving me the runaround through their specialty doctors, and they're all running some kind of diagnostic, but I'm like, this is as efficient as you all get for if I have cancer to try to intercept it. I mean, it just seems like a really inefficient process. But anyhow, so going back to day one on run. So today I did not have a problem with breathing. Breathing mechanics were easy. It's muscle mechanics that are so deteriorated. It's frightening just how off balance and how significant, I don't know if it's atrophy, because I think that is indicative of rigor mortis and stiffness, which I don't have. It's more flaccidness in the muscle, in large muscle groups, and again, being stuck in a room, and the two options are the bed or the floor, and not much other places to go. It is, I mean, again, just doing the best that you possibly can with the situation or the cards that you've been dealt. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.